visionary, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You want to make money from your passion and create the freedom that you've dreamed of. But it's slow. The income is slow, the impact is slow, and the freedom is slow. And here's the kicker. You've actually never been busier. You're working longer than ever, burning through daylight, and your family have forgotten who you are. You're tired and frustrated and you can't even sleep well at night. The business just feels so heavy, and all you ever wanted to do was just make the money you want to make doing the things that you want to do. And that's where I come in. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'm the host of the Business Acceleration Podcast, where we shift your business from heavy to light, time poor to time abundant, and from income lack to income growth. We're going to achieve it together with my 20 years experience as a psychologist, helping people just like you to break through their barriers. And we're going to throw in a little of the woo as well. So thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. So welcome to another episode of the Business Acceleration Podcast. I'm so pleased that you're here today, especially if you're somebody who honestly wants to find out why she's not calling in as many clients as she's able to serve, why you're not getting all of the enrollments, why you're not getting the new referrals into your business, or perhaps why you're not getting new work coming in at the rate that you'd like. I think I might know what's going on, and I'm going to provide you with a little bit of a framework today that you can take away and implement in your business, and you can apply it to the business as a whole, or you could apply it to services that you've got in place already or programs that you have in place already, as well as future ones that you're looking to introduce to the business. So how cool is that? Now, as you know, I wear two hats. I've got two businesses. One, I'm a psychologist, run that practice, all going good. The other one is a business coaching practice. And I love this so much because it's where I really get to integrate all the woo and the spirituality and the mindset and the energetic stuff with all of the business practice. But it's also very interesting because when you've been doing this for a little while and you start to see more and more clients, you know, I keep for myself a little spreadsheet where I make a note of what my clients' barriers were to their success or what their obstacles were. And this helps inform my business of where it might want to go in the future. One of the trends that has been popping up in my little Excel spreadsheet is that people are really, really busy and they're doing all of the work, but they're not yet getting in all of the clients. So I thought that's what we'll talk about today. Now, there's a lady that approached me. She is working in allied health and she has been a solo practitioner for about, I think 12 years she's been doing it now. And yeah, she was really been trying so hard to up-level her business. Now, she's done lots of different things. This person kind of reminds me of myself when I was first starting out because she's downloading all of the PDFs and she's watching all of the webinars and she's trying to sticky tape together all bits and pieces of information. She hasn't had a really clear picture of what she needs to do that's relevant to her business. And so what's happened is she's ended up with quite a hodgepodge of, it's just a mess. And now she's feeling quite overwhelmed and she doesn't know what to do. She can't see the forest for the trees. She ended up rebranding her business and that was all good. It took her a long time to do because she did it all by herself. That rebranding involved all sorts of things. You know, she changed the business name, she changed the logo, she changed the colours, she changed her tagline. She did all of those sorts of things. She rewrote all the copy for her website. She created new offers then, and she created new programs and services then. She did all of that. She changed her fees. She began networking with more people, and this kind of went on and on and on for a little bit, and still she was killing herself, spending hours and hours and hours in front of the computer trying to get all of this stuff sorted out. And she couldn't understand why she was doing all of the things that people were suggesting in these webinars and, you know, in these PDFs that she was downloading, and why they weren't working for her business. And when she finally came to me, she was exhausted and, you know, I would say almost bordering on feeling quite depressed. She was really low, very, very stressed, felt like she was under a lot of pressure financially. Also because she'd been working on the business for so long, she was also starting to feel really kind of tired. And I guess after not seeing the results that she'd dreamed of, she was also starting to question herself, and she was starting to feel quite defeated. And, in our first conversation, she even said to me that she was at the point of giving up, and she was just thinking of throwing it all in and quitting her profession and just going and getting like a different job, maybe, in retail or something like that, where she didn't have to worry about all the stress that's associated with running your own business. And, I could really empathize when she was sharing her story, because I've been there too. And I think many entrepreneurs and many business owners have been there. When you start a business, you don't know all of the things, and it can be a really steep learning curve. But I think, there's a couple of things that pop up when people are talking about their business. And the first one is that they tend to associate being really busy with getting outcomes or getting work. And I just want to say that there's absolutely no correlation between how busy you are and how many sales you make, or how many enrollments you get, or how many visits to your website you get, or whatever outcome it is you're tracking at the time. There's no correlation between effort and outcome. Okay, I think that's a myth, and I think sometimes we grow up and we pick up from people around us that there is a correlation between, well, you must work hard in order to be successful, and it's just not true. And we know that when we think about, universal laws, and we start to apply those sorts of principles as a framework for how we operate the business straight away, that can create a shift in your approach to the business. So I want to help you with that. The other thing too is that sometimes people come to me and they're exhausted and run down and feeling quite flat because, they've exhausted themselves from doing all of the work and they're not getting the results. And they say, Jimmy, I think I need to do another course. Maybe I just haven't done the right course. And I'm thinking, no, you don't need another course. There's a limit to how many courses you I guess energetically could be doing. I think the problem is that we're not implementing things that we've learned from courses. And by courses, I don't mean watching someone's webinar. And I don't mean a 3-part training series where you get, the first of 7 steps to something. I mean, you need the full 7 steps. Just taking the first step from this webinar and the second step from that one over there and the 4th step from that, and trying to quilt it all together, it's not going to work for you. No wonder the business feels like a hodgepodge. It's because it is. So, no, you don't need another course. Get that out of your mind. I think what probably needs to happen is we need to look at why you haven't done a full course. And if you have, we need to look at what's been stopping you from implementing the learning from that course. Okay, so you sign up for a course for a reason, don't you? It's to get the information, and it's to experience the education, so that then you can take that back and implement that to the business and create a change. And it's a change that you're wanting to see. Sometimes what happens is we do courses and then we get all G'd up about it, and then we come back and we don't implement things, and then nothing changes. And then we think, well, that mustn't have been a very good course. That's not true. It's just you didn't implement it. Or we think that maybe I just need to do a different course then because I haven't got an outcome. Well, the reason you haven't got an outcome is because you didn't implement what you'd learned in the first course. So no, stop doing courses. Save your money, okay? You want to get good return on your investment. If you just keep throwing money at courses and not implementing anything, that then changes from being an investment where you're going to get something back to being a cost or an expense where you're not going to get anything back. Okay, so no more courses. Ask yourself what stops you from implementing what you've already learned. Or you could ask, how can I start to introduce what I've learned from this last course into the business? How can I? Asking those sorts of questions can help you get the transformational shift that you're looking for. Okay. And something else that people say to me, and this is in my little Excel spreadsheet as well, is they say, oh, Brooklyn, I don't get it. Like, I'm all over social media. I'm posting on Instagram 5 times a day, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm updating my SEO on my website, and da-da-da-da-da. And, maybe I just need to do even more of that. And I think, no, like, stop killing yourself with the social media. You don't need to increase what you're already doing. No, if anything, I think maybe revisit what you're doing and see what energetically feels good for you. I did this myself a little while ago. How long? I think maybe it was about 6 months ago now. I was in a position too where I was questioning my social media presence. And I was thinking, because some people had been saying, well, you need to be on multiple sites and multiple platforms, and that's the way you're going to get traffic. And I was thinking, okay. So I found myself in a position where I did look at what I was doing online, and I did think to myself, oh, okay then, well, I'll give it a go, because I wanted to be open and I wanted to try new things, of course. What I realized was that alignment is more important to me than anything else. And being all over Instagram, being all over Twitter, being all over LinkedIn, at that time, those things just did not align with me. And alignment for me means I only want to do the things that make me feel really, really good in my business. And I don't feel good when I'm posting on multiple platforms, especially ones I don't really like. So I just made a decision to operate from alignment. And now I just kind of stick to my podcast, and I stick to Facebook. And they're my two places. From my podcast, of course, people are invited to join my email list where they get content upgrades. And, that's something fun that I really love to do. But in terms of my online presence, I just really love Facebook and podcasting. So, yeah, you have to think, if you're all over so many platforms, number one, how's that affecting your energy? Is it making you excited, and do you feel lit up to post, or do you feel like it's a job, it's a chore, you don't want to do it, you wish you didn't, you want to outsource it? If it's feeling like that, I think that's a bit of a clue that maybe that's not aligned with your energy, okay? Nobody says you need to be everywhere. You don't. You need to do what's right for you, okay? And you need to be comfortable enough to stand in that space and hold that space for yourself. So no, I think what's happening is when I have clients that, like I've explained to you, they've done all of the things, but they're still not getting the sales or the referrals or the clients or the enrollments, whatever it is. What we tend to do then is have a look at, okay, what's the message? How's the messaging looking? What are people thinking you're providing? For example, you might think that you're providing XYZ, and you feel really confident in that. And so you're posting about that all the time. And you get people signing up for free things with you, like maybe a free call if you're doing discovery calls, or maybe they're signing up for free webinars or free PDFs or, content upgrades and things like that. But they're not actually investing money when you go to sell to them, okay? They don't want to part with the $27. They don't want to part with the $1,000. They don't want to part with the $5,000. They just want to consume your free stuff. And it's not because you're not present enough on social media that you're not getting the conversions. What's happening is there's probably a disparity between what you think you are selling and what you think your message is, and what people are hearing as your message, or what people are thinking that you're doing. So I would ask you, if you were my client, I would say to you, what do you think you do? And how do you think you do it? And then if we polled your audience and we asked, say, 50 members of your audience, what do you think Sally does, or what do you think John does, and how do you think Sally or John do it? I bet there'd be a discrepancy. And that's very, very important, because what that does is that provides you with an opportunity then to correct your messaging and bring it into alignment, okay? If your clients are thinking you're doing something completely different to what you're actually doing, then we know that your messaging is off and it just needs to change a little bit. Okay, so what I've done is, for anybody who wants to take it further, I've got a PDF. I just know how that sounds, but I do. And this will be transformational. Don't worry. It's got a few questions in there that'll get you thinking about your business. And I want you to have that experience of having a shift. And I think that that's really going to help you get clarity around your messaging. And I think once you've got that clarity, you'll then be able to do your posting from that perspective. And I think that if you're consistent with that, you could start to see results in as little as between 6 to 8 weeks. It just takes a consistent approach. Okay. The other thing to do is just also check that your branding reflects your message. And, you have a brand personality perhaps, or you have a business personality. That's fine. But if you wanted to take that further as well, you could have, messaging for your different services or your different programs or offers and things like that as well. So that's the podcast for today. I hope it's helpful, and I would love it if you could leave me a review and let me know what your biggest takeaway was, and what you think about your messaging and how you've been able to change it as a result of listening to the podcast. And if there's anything that you would like a podcast about, of course you can email me anytime. I'll put my email in the show notes for you, so you can message me with any queries or questions. The other thing too is, of course, in January, the doors are opening for the next round of coaching, and it's open for 5 places. So these coaching programs open quarterly, and they go for 6 months. So we're just finishing up with our current lot now, and so exciting because I've had such an amazing outcomes, and I can't wait to share with you. Hopefully I can convince some of them to come on the podcast, and they'll be able to share with you a bit about their journey as a coaching client and what it's meant for their business, and share with you some of the challenges that they had and how they were able to overcome them. Sometimes it's more helpful to hear about these things peer-to-peer than somebody else telling you. I know that. So I'll see if I can invite some of them on, and if they're willing to come, we'll see what happens. And if you're looking to be a coaching client for the next round, you're absolutely welcome to apply. But there are a few things to know as well about, my ideal clients and who I will and won't work with. And look, I'm only going to work with people who are coachable, and I'm only going to work with people who are open to learning how to understand their numbers, because if you don't know your numbers, then we don't have a foundation from which to start. Now, I know it's hard when you're running a business and you're just kind of getting swept up in the day-to-day stuff. You might not be thinking about your numbers, and you might not have an idea about what numbers you need to be tracking and how you need to be tracking them and things like that, or why it's even important that you should. But what I would like to do is be able to teach you how to do that if you're not doing it already, so that then we can create a baseline. You want to have a starting point, so that we can track your progress in the coaching over the 6 months. You want to track it when you begin, around the midway point, and then again at the last bit, because it's by tracking your progress that you're going to see how far you've come. And I think a lot of the time we tend to focus on where we're feeling like we're failing and we're not doing well, and we spend less time celebrating the wins. And I think it's very important to be able to track that. So you need to be open to learning how to track your numbers in a non-scary way. And I've got lots of different ways to share that with you. I'm a very visual person, so I've got some tricks up my sleeve. It's not going to be scary, don't worry. I'm here to help. Also, if you're a business owner and you don't feel comfortable sharing business stresses in public forums like Facebook groups, you don't want everybody to know what you're struggling with. Sometimes there might be situations where perhaps, something happens with a team member or a staff member, or maybe there's something happened with a competitor, or maybe there's a legal issue going on or something like that. If the problem is going to be something that you feel is quite private, that you don't want people to know about, you don't want to go into a Facebook group and have everybody looking at what you're saying and judging and all of that sort of stuff, you might be interested in a program called Your Secret Angel, and you can visit my website for information about that. But it allows you time with me each month if you want it. It's always there. It's kind of like having a secret angel on retainer. It's space where you can have a one-on-one conversation with me up to half an hour a month, where we deal with anything that's causing you stress. If something's going to stop you from sleeping at night, that's a clue that you would pick up the phone and call me. That's what I'm here for. I want you to be able to sleep at night. I don't want you to be tossing and turning, worrying about something that's happening in the business. So you have me on retainer for 12 months. You pay monthly for 12 months, or if you pay in full, then you only pay for 10 months. You get the last 2 months free as a painful bonus. So you might want to have a look at that as well. We've got a number of allied health professionals that have already taken that offer up. You're welcome to take it up too, regardless of what business you're in. I'm here for you. And yes, I'll put the link to that in the website as well in case anybody wants it. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a really beautiful day. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys. Thanks so much. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast. And if you feel called to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, remember to let me know so that I can send you a very special thank you gift. Now go and build your dream business, and I will see you next time. Bye.